Are we live? Yep, I think this is live. Hello everyone. Shorter stream today. Probably. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, we're here. Mora and I played in an RCQ, which is why we're maybe starting a little bit later. Are we starting a little bit later? Who knows? Um,
We are.
okay.
I think we usually start at like 9.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so Mora and I played in an RCQ. So we're starting a little bit later, but hopefully should still be able to get through a little bit of RCQ recap. We have some interesting things to say, I guess, a little bit. Um, and then doing one draft log from Ryan. A single item draft log, of course, Ryan?
Ooh. Yeah, that's the only thing I'm doing these days.
Yeah. So yeah, this is not a camera. This is a screenshot. uh, I guess I'll talk about my sealed deck first. I I opened a sealed pool that had this red black deck, which was just like a pretty obvious first build. And this was like probably the best deck. The alpha rail is my opponents or my build partners. The person across from me in build. This is not my alpha rail, but I
Your
didn't have
build
any
opponent.
vexing, so I played two colors, even though someone I knew at the RTQ, Teddy, kept teasing me, asking how many colors I was playing and whether it was four. Yeah, this deck is strong. I also built a blue-black version. So there were 50 minutes of build time, which is way too much build time. So I spent it like building a bunch of like random things that I probably wouldn't use, but like I could see places where I could use it. And I think this is an important skill in sealed. I think like the blue cards are kind of like have more like Scourus for scrap and Cryogen Relic for card draw compared to like Vault Guard Trooper and arguably like Interceptor Mechanist kind of card draw or like Landseeker ish. Like both both decks like have card advantage. It's not obvious which one is better. The blue deck maybe has a little better removal because of Tractor Beam and Cryo Shatter, but not by that much. And maybe if there was a matchup where Tractor Beam was very strong, I would board into this deck. And then also like maybe if there was a matchup where I wanted five different three mana 2 power creatures, this deck could be better than the black red deck. But giving up on Mutinous Massacre is like really tough. So and also like Intimidator. Like the red deck just has higher card quality. Um, and then I also had a green white deck that was like, I don't know, maybe my black cards are bad for some reason. I could not figure out what reason that would be, but like I had a green white deck that technically existed. I never ended up boarding into either blue black or green white. I only ever boarded in one Thoughtseize as my only sideboarding. But it was good to build those, I guess. I went 3-0-2 in that. I went 3-0 and then ID'd twice to get into the top 8 at
A
32.
classic RCQ experience.
Exactly.
Yippee.
Yippee. Mora, do you want to talk about your, not that one, this one, your...
Yeah, no. So my sealed pool is like somewhat interesting because you can see my deck here that I played, which I think was pretty nice, but also a bunch of blue cards up top because I was between black red and blue black for this pool. And I guess I'll start because I started with looking at blue black because I have like you can see 3 Cryo Shatters, some Scan Ships, some Mechanizoas, the 4/4. There's like a lot of pretty good like just pretty good cards at like removing and filtering a bit, but also like not much beyond that. Didn't really have like the spice, and you can see with the red I have like it's hiding there, but I have like a Nova Hellkite, I have a Warship, I have the 2 Bruntars, and it just felt like red had a lot more upside, and like black I kind of felt like pushed into like I looked at like blue red, but black just has like the really nice early game, has the 2 tragic trajectories which bridge early to late really nicely, and just like I realized like I don't really need like 3 Cryo Shatters and 2 tragic trajectories when I could have like 2 tragic trajectories and like a Plasma Bolt and some more mid-rangey removal. And so I ended up playing this black-red deck, which was really nice. It had like the Bruntars was splashing the Wrath off of an island and 2 landers. And just like did like nice. They're really mid-range thing. One thing I realized towards the end was I really wanted the 9th swamp, and I really wanted the 18th land, because the deck very much like was trying to hit land drop number 6 and number 7 to like play Bruntar and draw cards off Bruntar. And so I cut in my last match the Chrome Companion for a swamp. And yeah, it like played out pretty well. My rounds were weird. I ended up going 3-2. I went with my 2 losses being to 2 people who top 8, and so I like snuck in at 8th seed with my last round to win. And like the deck, most of what I lost to, I think, was like deck non-functioning, like not drawing. Like my deck really, really, really wanted to draw a swamp early because all my early game was black, which is why I kind of wish I had played the 18th land 9th swamp. And so I lost like stumbling a bit and just like my deck not having enough raw cards to have all my lands and to cast all my spells, and like hands where I draw like all my top end stuff like that. But it was strong. Like, Nova Hellkite's strong. Warship was like pretty good.
Yeah.
I also had a really cool game. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say I had a really the game in my win-in. I played against an opponent who like slammed an endstone and I couldn't kill them, but they just kept going and going with endstone, and eventually we both had our survey mechas just chilling in play. And I was like, "You draw 3," and they milled out. And that was a really cool way to sneak into the top 8.
Yeah. It was really funny while I was watching that match, and if you didn't have the survey mech in, like your opponent had 3 cards in library, but they were definitely going to kill you because they were just going to activate Cavron like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like the Imidane's Recruiter land.
Yeah, I think I had Singularity Rupture in my hand at that point, but no, I don't think I did actually. I don't think I did. But that was my other out of drawing into that to give them less time. But yeah, Cavron was very scary there. So the server mecha came in clutch.
But yeah. Definitely this pool looks pretty interesting to me because like it looks very obvious that you should play the blue just looking at the blue cards, but I do actually like the black red deck the most because like your most powerful cards are red, so you should be playing red, and then I think the black black cards complement the red cards better than the blue cards do, which is really interesting to me. Like I think
agree,
the Tronic trajectories are better than like the Cryo Shatters, for example.
Yep, like especially with having like Plasma Bolt and Depressurize, like it feels like the blue deck almost has a little bit too much of that kind of interaction. Mm-hmm. And I like that the red deck has more like putting creatures in play, especially when I have like Pinnacle Kill Ship and like Nebula Dragon, and like the Wrath. I have like plenty of ways to interact, and this feels like a nice balance of them.
Yeah, I guess like the red deck has your like highest your best card quality overall, and a lot of the card quality is concentrated at the top of the curve, so like the Mechanizoas and the scan ships from blue get worse.
Mm-hmm. Yep, strong agree. Yeah, I laid out the blue red deck like twice, and every time I was like, the curve was just fully non-functional. It was like there's like no early plays besides the card Cryo Shatter. But yeah, that was a deck. It was fun.
You want to talk about how your draft went? This was your draft deck.
Yeah. I can talk about it. It was pretty straightforward. I mean, I wish I had a log for it because it's probably like some individual picks that could have done differently, but it was like I pack 1, pick 1 Cosmogard Zenith and pack 1, pick 2's Cerebral Download, and just the best card in the pack most of the time was blue or white. And I kind of just was like, I want to play my best cards, and like pack 2, pick 1, I took the White Angel, which like, because I was like pack 1, I was mostly just in blue. I think I picked up like both Titans pack 1.
We should probably say like the full names of the cards because it's not really easy to read them in a picture. So what do you mean by the White Angel?
So the White Angel, Esteli Reclaimer is the card's name. I can't read it.
I think that returns a non-creature and has warp.
Yeah.
Not the token doubler. There's like 2 different White Angels in the set.
Yeah. I think the big dynamic that I realized during the draft, but like still struggled, was I knew that people around me were probably going to be picking up like the white interactive spells and probably also blue interactive spells, and I wasn't. And part of that was I noticed I wasn't getting them, and also like I knew that I was. It seemed like the colors were somewhat drying up, and so I was very worried about getting enough interaction, and I ended up with like the Emergency Eject came in clutch, but I really wish I had more, like a Banishing Light or something, or like a Focus Fire. I got a chance to pick up Focus Fire that maybe I was supposed to take over another really good card. But yeah, the deck I think felt quite good, and then I lost brutally to Jason in the quarters because Jason's deck was I think better and had a good matchup against me. Yeah. And like I also think there was like a little bit of like I'm actually interested to hear y'all's thought about this deck because structurally it felt a little bit weird. Like it struggled to be super assertive and kind of wanted to play late game, but also didn't have like the best late game in the format. Like it had a good late game, it had good cards. Like Cosmic Girl Zenith is a messed up card, and Starminder's messed up. But I mean, I don't know.
I definitely think that the biggest thing was that you had no interaction. So like you didn't have a way to end the game, and also you had no way to interact. If the game did go long, like I don't know.
Yeah, Torpedo's not it.
I would just like play it like. I mean, obviously, okay. So one of the games I won by casting 0 Point Ballad, among other things. But like you didn't set up a particularly fast clock. So in the games, I just like had a lot of time to like crack Survey Mechans and like crack my All Fate Scroll, and then like you couldn't interact with like what I followed that up with to like push like mid game damage. So that like definitely hurt you a lot.
Also, funnily, I think the game that you 0 Point Balladed to kill me, you potentially had Godsire lethal that turn if you don't play around interaction.
Oh, yeah, like I know I definitely had like that turn. I knew I had Godsire lethal. I could have gone Godsire and then like Godma, and then after playing Godma, Wrath for X equals 1 to kill your like 4/1/1s. I figured it was safer to Wrath.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Yeah, and then you got my Cosmic Guard Zenith.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it was the deck. I think definitely would clean up like more like fairish decks. But those also like the decks I'm generally less happy with playing myself in this format, and not what I expect at the top tables.
Yeah. You just have like
I think I really just
nothing to like, and you don't have the removal to go with it. So you need to rely on your opponent being a deck that like wants to trade with you a bunch anyways, and like needs to deal with your big creatures inefficiently.
Yeah, or just like playing even just like playing a smaller game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really like, and I knew it the whole time. I really just wanted more interaction. I couldn't find it.
Anyway, speaking of my deck, what?
That's not it.
Let me fix that. Okay, great. This was my deck. I 3-0'd.
It's up. I think. Oh no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
I thought we were like weirdly displayed on screen, but we're fine.
Yeah, I briefly was and then fixed it. So cool. I 3-0'd and won the RCQ. And like I played all 3 rounds. Also, this wasn't like win 2 rounds and then split. This was like kind of close to the platonic ideal deck that I could have basically in Soup, except that I wanted like 2 more interaction spells, but the Hole Carvers did good work. This draft was one where like I took the 2-mana 4/1 Menace in black, pack 1 pick 1, and then took a Felgrav ship and then a Use Social Engineering and the Survey Mechan, and then like ended up in green because I got like Biomech 2 Biomech and Engineers early pack 2. And like I don't know, the mana just like worked decently enough in this deck that I could just like continuously just like, you know, play a 2-mana 2/2 or 3-mana 3/3 that makes a lander, crack the lander, set up my mana early, then consistently have like 7 mana and just do a bunch of busted things with 7 mana. And like it was just very strong. I did lose a game to I did the 2 games I lost in top 8 were both to stumbling on mana. The first of which because I cast Galactic Wayfarer and then my opponent Banishing Lighted my lander token, which I was relying on. But otherwise, like the deck was consistent enough at mana that like it could afford to like drop like 1 game per match to mana, or on average less than that, probably on average like half a game per match due to mana, and then like still win the like utterly crush the rest, you know. So yeah,
this deck was really cool to see where it like how your games played out, where it's like you had like strong defensive speed and like strong mana generation, and so like every game came down to you had a big enough board, and then you killed with Godsire. Like every single time, it was like the same. Like the game goes late, Godsire kills, or Godsire plus Godma. Sorry, yeah,
just
Godma plus the Panharmonicon is sick.
Yeah, I agree that basically every single game I killed my opponent with Godma because like I would just go stall, chump with 2/2s from engineering, trade off with hole carvers, etc., and then eventually slam Godma kill.
Yeah,
it was just very consistent because I just like
Godma is a very good over the top tool.
Yeah. I considered pack 2, pick 2. I had Godma versus Gene Pollinator, and I did tank on that because I think that is like that to me that is not an obvious pack 1 pick 1 because like Godma is really good, but it also costs 7 mana, and it's not often a limit on what you like. On what you have, but at that point I had like 2 hole carvers and I had 2 hole carvers, a biomech engineer, a use social engineering. Like I had a lot of cheap stuff and like a card draw, but I didn't have like impactful stuff. So like Godma being my first like really impactful thing was like nice, and like I just didn't need to take anything else that was impactful for the rest of the draft. And in fact, instead of taking some large creature I could have played, I took 2 copies of the blue-red uncommon legend to hate draft because I passed a Pinnacle Emissary in pack 2. Because I was like, I feel like one of the few ways to lose with this deck is against like a really strong synergistic blue-red. But yeah. Either way, this deck was very strong. Did want more removal. Hopefully that was interesting.
Do you guys feel like there just wasn't removal available in the draft?
No, I saw a bunch of removal. I think I took like an all fake scroll over a cryo shatter at some point, like some piece of fixing that I really needed over a cryo shatter at some point. And I like passed a decent amount of removal, but like it was like I didn't. It all felt like I was taking like really important cards over the removal, so I don't know.
Yeah, that was my vibe too. Where like I took Cosmogard Zenith over Banishing Light, and like I think the other chance, like the one Focus Fire I saw, I think it was in the pack with the Starwinder. I'm not sure. It was in a pack.
Yeah, you got to take Starwinder.
Yeah, it's possible that I like took the second Cerebral Download over Focus Fire and that was wrong, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I like definitely at some point took Lost in Space over like a card that was like stronger than Lost in Space in a vacuum, specifically because I needed more removal. And like I took the Focus Fire really highly. Like the Focus Fire was like pack 3, like early pack 3 pick, where I had no white cards I was planning on playing, but I already had All Fate Scroll and 2 Survey Mechans, so I'm like, okay, of course I'm going to want to put a Plains in this deck, right? Like even without any white cards. So yeah, I took that very highly.
It's possible actually because my sideboard had a Command Bridge and a Godless Shrine. It's possible I might have like missed a chance to pick up a Grav Kill because I think some of them were going around. That's definitely possible. But like I think like both players next to me ended up like in white, and so I was like pretty heavily cut off Banishing Lights. I just like didn't. Blue seemed like somewhat open, but I didn't see Cryo Shatters.
Yeah, one thing about sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
One thing about this is like in pod drafts. Like in competitive pod drafts where you don't get to look at your picks, this is one of the like hardest skills to like train, is like remembering what your deck needs so that you don't like randomly end up with like, oh, you're just taking good cards over and over again and forget that you don't have enough removal, right? Like that's that's a trap that's really easy to fall into. Like I almost took the other card over Lost in Space, and it would have been like really bad for me if I had done that. Like the Lost in Space was like pretty crucial to my deck because I had like very few other removal spells.
Yeah, no, that's something because of exactly that, I made sure like when we were reviewing our picks in between packs, I was like, what does my deck need? Interaction. I just still didn't see it. Or like was maybe too much blue-white blindfolded, I'm not sure. Yeah. because I heard from someone next to me that grab kills were going around, but I forget like what I was taking over them. It could have also just been it was early pack and I was taking the really good cards in my deck. Like I ended up like a card like Starwinder was very late. But very late, I made second or third pick.
Probably if you showed me your deck, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that if you showed me your deck, like your final deck, like you knew what your final deck looked like, except you were given the choice to either to like swap out the Starwinder for a grab kill, I would not make that choice. Like I don't think it's quite that dire, your lack of removal. I would definitely swap it out for a Cryo Shatter though. I think like.
Like yeah, maybe. I have 2 downloads.
Obviously, this is not a choice that you can like actually make in the moment, right? Because you don't know what you're not getting the Starwinder versus Cryo Shatter as the literal last pick of the draft, right?
Yeah.
But so you don't know how badly you'll need the Cryo Shatter by the end when you're looking at pack 2 pick 1. But like I do think that in your final deck, I would rather have a Cryo Shatter than a Starwinder. But
yeah,
it's close.
I do think I was, for the most part, very attentive. So I doubt there was a good window to grab a graph kill, but maybe I could have taken one over the second cerebral download or something like that. I think I slightly overrated that card in this deck with a second copy of it.
I think clearly the lesson to be learned here is that we need to train our eidetic memory so that we can do draft log reviews after paper drafts.
Yes. You're so true. I would love to be able to log review this because I definitely think there's spots I could have done better. There's a lot of also just marginal cards, marginal card A versus marginal card B, where I was I'm not sure which card is better for my deck. And they're all medium. There's so many packs, there's a bunch of shitty white cards. I was I don't know what shitty white card should be in my pile.
Yeah. Anything else about the RCQ, or shall we move on to actual draft log review?
I said let's move on.
Great. I'm ready to crush you again tomorrow in another RCQ.
Yeah, if by crush me you mean get crushed, yes. I couldn't think of a wittier comeback.
What a comeback.
I was trying to think of something witty and I failed. It was very sad. I guess better good than witty. I'm gonna win the finals tomorrow. It's gonna be great.
I didn't realize you liked Crusher. Isn't there a card called Debris Field Crusher or something? Isn't that card
I don't know. Probably. I couldn't tell you. I don't know card names.
It's the 5-drop the spaceship that.
No, okay, I think.
Yeah, it's there.
Oh yeah,
Debris
Field Crusher. Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever cast that card.
I have. It's pretty mediocre.
Maybe once.
It's okay in aggressive decks, I think. But
yeah, no, I agree with this theory. That's also been my opinion on it. All right.
Anyways,
so pack 1, pick 1.
This is Ryan's draft log, right?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yep. This is just from a single limb earlier this week.
I would like to take 2 cards for the price of 1.
I would like to take a Circuit Feeder. I would like to ignore the bug and take Circuit Feeder. I think.
The joke being made is that if there are 2 cards in a pack on Magic Online and you select one of them, Magic Pro Tools, the thing we are using, will think you selected both because it doesn't have a way to differentiate between them.
Yeah.
For everyone watching. This is what Jason is joking about.
I'm saying that I want to take the Terra Pact Intimidator.
Are you seriously saying that?
Yes, I think so.
Got it. Okay, understood. Okay. So you evaluate it as a better pack 1 pick 1 than Mono Circuit Feeder.
I think that I like red more than black, and I like cheap card more than expensive card.
Huh. Interesting. Red more than black. That's not something I inherently would assume. Are you just down on the black decks in general?
I just have never really gotten black to work. I think black is fine, but I think it's a little. Sometimes it can be hard to make black work. It feels like you need to do more work than for other decks.
I would say the main thing you need to do to make black work is to have your deck be very, very based black, where most of your cards are black. I think that the black cards tend to play well with each other. So it could probably be a very committal thing if you're trying to draft decks with 7 to 10 to 12 black cards, or like 11 black cards or whatever.
Yeah.
That could be partially what's going on. Notably, I think we've had some single limb trophies from decks that did not look very good, that were just like full of a bunch of black cards, because that seemed to be like what was available during the draft.
I had one of those. It was very nice.
Yeah, I'm mostly remembering that one. I think CFT had one at some point. That being said, like Terror Pact Intimidator is a very strong card.
Yeah, no, that card has continued to impress me.
It's
more
close
and more.
for sure.
I could see taking it because like cheap impactful plays, like a cheap highly impactful 2-drop, I think is like kind of really hard to find.
Yeah, like I don't know. My biggest, okay, definitely like the black versus red thing is less important. I don't think it's that big of a difference in parallel. Like I think this format's fairly balanced, but I really value cheap cards. I think. And like that's my main reason for wanting to take Terror Pact Intimidator over Mono Circuit Feeder. Like Mono Circuit Feeder is definitely better than Pinnacle Killship. Like I'm not gonna argue that like we should take Pinnacle Killship over Mono Circuit Feeder Pack 1 Pick 1. But like there's just a bunch of things like that you can like pick up. And Mono Circuit Feeder, there are times where it is like Godmod levels of impactful when you're like really deep into the artifact space. But like most of the times it's like good. Like it's like a good version of like the like very expensive stuff, and not like that special.
Yeah, there are times when it's -0/-2, and it's like it's killing something and it's pushing some damage, but it's not like it's not always a Necrotal.
It's a 6-mana Nebula Dragon, basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Or like a little bit worse than that, like in a way that's notable.
No, I
but
think
it's
like, I think 6-mana Nebula Dragon is like a very apt comparison, where like being 6 mana is like a pretty big upside to Nebula Dragon, and also the 6 mana Nebula Dragon with upside, where like sometimes it's much better than 6 mana Nebula Dragon. But at the end of the day, it's still 6 mana.
Yeah. No, you could definitely convince me on Intimidator. I've had that card cast against me more times today, and it's like it has kind of the quality where your opponent can just like choose the wrong mode, especially when they're on low information, and like that I think can be nice.
Yeah,
like I think lost the game to picking the wrong mode on the card at least once.
Yeah, the thing about Intimidator is that like it is hard for one of the modes to be like bad, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like it is either getting you like 2 pieces of cardboard or like trading for a real card, basically, always.
Yeah.
So
like especially on turn 2, it's really hard to contest it if they pick counters. And then landers can just like bridge you to playing late really nicely. Yeah. I think I'm kind of convinced on that taking Intimidator here.
Okay, so 2
timelines?
To head off some concerns. Do we want to talk about whether or not the fact that there are like 3 of the best cards in the pack are red should factor into our decision?
I don't think it factors in very much for me at all.
Yeah. I mean, like it's the thing about like that kind of signal is like if you put the person to your left into red, if like that is what happens because of this, which I think is like not the most likely, because I think Pain for All is pretty medium, Pangolin is pretty medium, Intimidator is nice. Like I think people might even just be taking like Banishing Light or Killship over some of those, and so the red cards go later and influence you draft less. It's also like pack 3. If pack 2 you're cut off on red, it kind of inverts itself in pack 3. Like I don't think it's going to actually have a substantial impact on your draft, and like if we're thinking about this kind of example, and later in the draft you are, the more you're able to just kind of like force your way through that kind of impact. So like I don't know, I think it's just like the impact of passing these red cards, if we take Intimidator, is like pretty marginal.
I think it's very, very clearly a tiebreaker. I think like if I truly didn't know which card I preferred, I would probably take the one that has the fewest other good cards of its color in the pack. but that's like literally the only thing I would use it as a tiebreaker. And there's also a lot of other tiebreakers you can use, like take the cheap card that I think have higher priority even.
I would agree that they have high priority. I would like also, I don't know, I feel like being cut off in a color pack too isn't also a net negative thing.
The draft dynamics are like not that interesting or projectable from a single pick that you're making. So I just would not really think about that pretty much at all. It's kind of, to me at least, a categorical mistake to even try to analyze.
Yeah, I guess that's my claim, is I feel like it's incredibly nebulous, and so I agree with that.
I mean,
I think it can get tricky. Yeah, it can get tricky to like talk about all of the things you could consider and then have the conclusion be like, and therefore it's confusing, so you shouldn't consider. I think it's much clearer and easier to just say, like, you really should not care about that at all, because most people index way too far in the caring about it direction.
Yeah.
Like, it is a notable thing that people bring up almost every time when you have a pack like this, and it should basically never be brought up as like a relevant factor for the decision, I think. That's my opinion.
I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah, I strongly agree.
Because I agree with this.
I think we've successfully communicated the truth. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Okay. Okay. I assume that we are taking. Oh, actually, I don't know if I should assume what we're taking, but I do want to take Might Form Harmonizer, but like there is a Pinnacle kill ship that I'm looking at.
So the cards we consider here, are we trying to split timelines, or are we just going with the 6 drop?
We could split timelines if we want. I don't think it's that important. The thing is, like, I don't think that, like, basically this is a kind of thing where I don't think it's wrong, right? Like I think either decision is like they're pretty close, and like I'm not confident enough to say that one of them is wrong. So like it's not that interesting to split timelines. I think it's more interesting to split timelines when you like have a situation where you are positing that the pick that was made was probably wrong, and seeing like how the other path would have gone. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. Then let's not split. So we have the 6 drop cards I'm looking at are like Kill Ship, Harmonizer. Probably not Chinook because gold tax, and that card is like pretty heavy in landers.
Yeah, I mean,
Station Wander.
If we have a black card, Chinook is pretty hard to.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, I think I'm not high enough on Embrace Oblivion. I think I just want to take Harmonizer.
Yeah, for me, it was between the Harmonizer and the Kill Ship, for sure. Like, I like Harmonizer. I don't think it's amazing. It's only like slightly better, I would say, than the 4 mana. I mean, maybe like meaningfully better. The 4 mana 4/4 trample, just to finish the sentence. But you know, it's good. It's like actively good in a way that card isn't, but it still kind of plays a pretty similar role in your deck.
I don't know. I think
I was considering between that and the Kill Ship, especially because Kill Ship is a card I want in most of my decks in this format. Can need to prioritize it highly sometimes, and was like colorless, literally.
Yeah, no, that is very fair. It being colorless here versus a double green card is nice. Harmonizer, I think,
but I could see being wrong.
I do think
Harmonizer.
Go ahead. You go first.
There you go. I was gonna say Harmonizer does just have like a kill you factor that a lot of cards don't, and like works nicely with Kill Ship or like with like any trample threat in a way that I think is like a really powerful dynamic for a green stompy deck to have.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, exactly. Like, it's somewhat comparable to Ice Cave Crusher, and that's like 4 mana big creature, and green has a lot of 4 mana big creatures, but Harmonizer does like have the like it is just more threatening than Crasher, and more
it
often
can sometimes say you literally win the game and your opponent can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and
like sometimes it has that text.
Yeah, that has a little bit of value, definitely.
Yeah,
I agree.
So I will note, I think I want to take Harmonizer specifically because we have a 6 drop. And I don't know if I want to like commit to taking 6 and then 7 immediately. So
makes sense.
That's mostly why I would want to take Harmonizer, but
in the format, and it is a little bit illegal. I've tried to play like 3 7s in a deck that didn't have a lot of ways to get to 7, and like by going up on cards with landers or whatever, and it's pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is like a limit to how many super expensive cards you can play, and there are a lot of good ones. I
Mhm.
agree.
Wow, a super expensive card we could play. Um,
Speaking of combos with Might from Harvester.
is it? It doesn't have trample.
No, but it gives you 8 landfalls for whatever.
Oh,
It,
sure,
it
sure.
turns a creature that with evasion into an instant kill by like 100 times in a funny way.
You're not wrong, unless it has 0 power.
This is true. I also, to be not riding the bit, I don't actually consider it that much for combo with Might Form because yeah, it doesn't actually contribute to the evasion problem, and
Yeah.
it's an 8 droplet without evasion. I think the card's just like okay.
What would you say is the best card in this pack? Do you think it's Emergency Eject? Do you think it's Mechanism?
Uh,
Do you think it's Plasma Bolt?
what are y'all's opinions on Terra Botanist?
I think it's fine.
It's like felt
It's
like
fine.
pretty nice. As like a cheap, impactful play. Like marginal life gain just has felt like it like somewhat matters.
I would call Terra Botanist a good defensive speed 2 drop.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So we're thinking about emergency. I do think I probably like eject more than it. I'm not sure if I with kill ship maybe I like Mechanizoa more, but I'm not sure.
Mm.
Hmm. I guess
So
we have
I,
the 6 drop that cares about artifacts. Maybe
yeah,
that's a
I
little bit
really,
another point towards.
I will point out again. I really do not want to take 6 drop, 7 drop, 6 drop as my first 3 picks of the draft.
Yeah. No, neither do I really. I don't know if I want to take the card emergency eject or not.
I think I would
Don't
rather
have enough
take.
data on the card.
I would just take Eject.
Yeah. I personally how does have you played it with eject a lot? Like how does it feel casting early?
I think it's good. Like I don't know.
Okay.
Divine Gambit vibes. Positive.
I don't have data. I think part of my issue is I don't have data on that in my brain.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give a bit of a spiel. Divine Gambit was a card that was in Call Time and Strixhaven, my two favorite draft sets. Um, Amusingly, just back to back, like Strixhaven, it
That's
was
really
on the
funny.
bonus sheet. And it was good in both. In Call Time, you wanted to play it as like you just cast it on like turn 6 or something, and your opponent
But to
probably
be
can't.
clear, Divine Gambit, that's white, kill a thing, they put a permanent from hand into play.
Yeah, XL, I think they put a
Exiles.
permanent in. It might be
Okay,
like
cool.
they put a creature in or something, but
So like arguably maybe even a worse downside than eject.
yeah, arguably,
They're different cards.
they're different
Yeah.
cards. It's
Yes.
definitely a worse card than eject on like face up, mostly because it is white as opposed to single white and
Yes.
sorcery as opposed to instant. And also it doesn't hit any non-land permanent. But either way, in Call Time and Strixhaven, so in Call Time it was good because like you like just having like point and click kill anything was very good, and you just played it like in the late game, and that was and then like people weren't just like drawing a billion cards in Call Time that much. Or like people weren't like holding like a bunch of large like if you played Divine Gambit in this format too often people would just like put in like a 7 drop and you'd be really sad.
Yeah.
Whereas in Call Time that happened a lot less, and in Strixhaven it was like even better because most of the creatures were instead instants and sorceries that made tokens. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was just really good in Strixhaven. I think emergency eject here is like similar to, like somewhere in between those two, because like the lander is meaningful. It's like a piece of cardboard that your opponent can use. But like instant speed, not being double white is nice. You can splash it, and just killing anything is good. Like there is a lot of removal in the
Mm-hmm.
format, but like killing anything is good. There's a bunch of random things where like you like hive pool or something that like can be
Yeah,
really
yeah.
annoying if you don't have like something that can kill anything. Um, and like
Mm-hmm.
as long as you don't play it like before turn 5 or something. Like probably your opponent like will get some value out of the lander, but it won't be like really embarrassing for you. Right? Like if you just cast this on turn 3, it's probably going to be really embarrassing for you because like you probably didn't kill anything that good, and like they like a lander on turn 3 is really good for them, right? um
Yeah.
but Yeah.
but
Overall,
it's
I like the
not
card.
hard.
Like I would take this over grab kill pack on pick one. But I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if I would take it
Interesting.
over. I don't know if I would take it over cryo shatter or plunge.
Yeah, I
That makes
also like
sense.
emergency eject and have been playing a lot of it and liking drafting it somewhat highly, similar to that. I don't actually know why I didn't scan it in the pack here. It's going to be very funny when we reveal the pick because it is not a card we've talked about at all. It's a card I like, but I don't think it was the right pick.
I'm very curious which card it is.
Would you like to try to guess?
Famished World Sire.
No.
Oh, Red Light Rammer? Plasma Bolt is my guess, actually.
Wait, I did mention plasma.
Oh, did you mention Plasma Bolt?
Ha! I did it.
Oh.
I succeeded.
Huh. That's interesting.
This is an interesting card. We haven't really talked about it very much, and I want to get people's like overall impressions.
Okay, I want to hear
feels
your
so
take
medium
on it
to me.
first, Ryan.
Oh yeah,
because
go.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have an
Happy
opinion.
to. I don't know how strongly I should hold this opinion. I think I am probably a little bit too high on the card, or at least I was earlier in the week. But I have had it be quite strong in a lot of decks with like Night Luminary specifically. There are some white decks that can just go very wide in a similar sense to like all of the colors playing well specifically with themselves in the format where you really want to be in like a base monocolor deck a lot of the time. And I was also thinking like it's two artifacts for the circuit feeder, and I have been liking black white a lot as a go wide kind of deck. But I think I just didn't scan emergency eject, and I really should have. Like it's just a better white card by like a decent margin, I think. Also, it's not like I have to take a white card, but I do think eject is also probably the best card in the pack by like a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Red Light Rammer to me has felt like fine, but 9 is actually a pretty large station number for it, even with the 2/2 you get.
Yeah, I haven't been that impressed. I feel like you kind of just station it, and then your opponent removes it, and they're like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, having two bodies for one card is nice. Like you did get meaningful value out of that, but you also lost value by tapping a bunch of things. So
yeah, you just pay so much tempo to it. I feel like is the problem. Like
yeah, it's very reasonable.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying with like it feels like the 9 is a lot.
During the spoiler season, I was like
that's a good
high
point,
on this
Greg.
card because like I thought like, oh, it's like kind of like Station 5 because you know you tap the 2/2 and then you tap the 2/2 again and then you only need to tap 5 power things. But for some reason, it's just like played out worse than that.
I mean, yeah, because you have to commit still have to commit your 4 mana to it. It's still like taking up your 4-drop cast.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, you tap your 2/2, but it's not like you just had the 2/2. It's the 2/2 is like what you got board impacting from playing this card.
Yeah, like I was thinking like this was kind of the card from Ether Drift, which is like a 5 and a 5/4 that makes a 1/1 Thopter and has crew 1. I was thinking of that one of that card is like, oh, this is like, a like 4 mana like decently large creature that like trades off and dies into a 2/2, right? It's kind of like that card, but it's much different because like that one you can actually immediately trade it off, or this one you have to put a lot of work into trading it off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Now 4 versus 5 is a meaningful difference, but I've had slightly better experiences with the card because I think I've had white decks that are very good at getting on the board early, but that might have been like a 1 or 2 off. I think I'm much closer to what you guys are saying. Like, where are you currently evaluating this card? Would you say you think it's like definitely playable but not needed to prioritize at all? Would you say you'd rather not play it? Like,
I think it depends on the deck. I do find your point with like the black white decks like somewhat compelling, like decks where you're like doing a little bit more of like I'm playing out my like creatures early and like kind of always entering into a board stall, because I think a lot of the go wide decks that are the small go wide decks that like just do that
creatures on the board.
Yeah, I think like in those spots,
those colors.
I guess what I'm saying is I feel like there are decks like that just kind of like station cards and would really like Wedge Light Rammer as ways to convert board presence into evasive bodies while maintaining large amounts of board presence. Like I think there are decks like that, but I don't think that's necessarily everything. Definitely not every deck, and I don't know whether that's every white deck. I like genuinely don't know. I think
Yep.
I lean towards it's not every white deck. It's like a card like Wedgelight Rammer feels like very much replacement level. It oscillates for me between level 2 want to cast this card. It depends on the deck.
I agree, not every white deck. I want only an aggressive white decks. Okay. So, by the way, we've spent so much time on the first 3 picks. I don't think this is a bad thing, because right now I want to go back and talk about how our first 3 picks have gone. Now that we've finished talking about pack 1, pick 3. Specifically, I would like to point out that we started out with a card that was expensive and conditional. It costs 6 mana, and like it's only truly like amazing in a certain like subset of decks. And then we took another expensive card. Thankfully, it goes in every deck, but it is another expensive card. And then we saw.
I would also describe Killship as conditional. Like,
Sure.
I don't think you want to spend 7 to kill a creature, so you really do need to have like board presence and be stabilized for it to do its thing. So I think it also has some amount of conditionality.
Yeah, a little bit conditional. But what I mean is like conditional on like, when I say conditional, I mean like how strong it is in like the deck that you're playing. Where I think Killship has a flatter power level across decks, whereas like Circuit Feeder like goes way up in a specific kind of deck and is like good in other decks, but not like better than Intimidator. I basically what I'm trying to advocate for here is like, wouldn't it be really nice to have a cheap card that is good literally everywhere that you would play it? Like I don't know, like this pack, like okay, maybe we should have taken Emergency Eject, but some of the cards that we were thinking of taking, like Mechanizoa is an expensive card. Wedgelight Rammer is a conditional card in a different direction. Eumidian Terrabotanist is like a cheap card, but like a different direction. Like in fact, one that conflicts with black. Like green and white both like conflict with the Circuit Feeder a little bit, because green and white, it's like green black and white black are generally not like the amazing Circuit Feeder decks. So like, you know, what I'm trying to get at here is like it kind of feels like we haven't set ourselves up for success, but maybe we got unlucky. But maybe we could try to go down paths that don't need to get lucky, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I agree with all of this. I think that like the first 3 picks left us pretty directionless and without a lot of upside to capture. And yeah, I think like Terra Pact makes a lot of sense. Eject makes a lot of sense. I do like the Killship pick personally. I think that was the right choice instead of the like green committal card, but it's close, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise agree with everything you've said. Like this is not a way to start out a draft that is like avoiding the potential for train wrecks. In fact, it's like adding on a lot of that risk for not a huge benefit.
Yeah. That's it. I don't think it's like, I would not call it like necessarily a huge like this pack 1 pick lineup. I still don't know if I would call it a mistake, because like I do really like the Circuit Feeder card, but we'll see. Yeah.
Aaron, the reason we didn't pick Green Rare is because it's good, but it's not incredible. It's not nearly a bomb. I would say it's just a strong green creature. And I think Killship is also quite strong. And so the cards are close in value, and I preferred the colorless card. But the rare is reasonable to take there. I just don't think it's obvious by any means.
I'm a bigger fan of Green Stompy, and I like cheaper cards better, so I would have taken it. I would have taken it even more if I had a card that makes potentially 2 landers. Like if I take Intimidator, I like actually am more happy to take Harmonizer and like try to wheel to Nook or something.
I agree. I would definitely also kind of follow that probably.
Yeah. But I think it's like reasonable to take Killship here, but I really want. If this were like a 2-mana green card that was this strength, I would be so down to take that and slam that over the Killship, you know. But I just want cheaper cards. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. We get to pick 4. Hooray!
Okay, we have a black card, a colorless card, and a white card. All of which are somewhat expensive. So clearly, we should take the Killship.
I want to take Meltstrider's Resolve anyway here, I think. I don't think any other card really measures up.
Yep. I think this one's pretty clear. It's the best card in the pack by a mile, and it's cheap, and we want cheap cards.
I like cheap cards.
Yeah, right? Imagine if we had taken that 4/4 now.
I don't think that's the right way to think about that pick,
I
and I
agree.
know you're probably
I
saying it
agree.
tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just want to clarify for the audience that we are not actually saying that the melt strategy resolve means anything about the previous pick.
Yes.
I want to take a green card. I don't know which one is best.
Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, we don't have a red card. Stomping Ground is pretty much off the table compared to.
I guess we
These green
could take
cards.
Focus Fire because we do have a white card,
Oh yeah.
but I think I
So-
prefer a green card.
So I think I like Focus Fire over Diplo, maybe, or maybe at least over Burst.
Okay, let me
So I
put
think
it, let me put it this way. We have a like we have a white card and a green card, right? We have a white card, green card, a black card, and a colorless card. And now we're given the choice mostly between a white card and some green card, right? So we're kind of comparing like I kind of think that our green card is stronger than our white card, right? Like, I think
mhm.
that's definitely true. So I kind of would rather go more in on the green than the white, even if Focus Fire is maybe arguably a stronger card than these. Like probably not that arguable,
Mhm.
but like
I guess the other thing I'm thinking about though is like, if I am in green, is it how often is the world where I can just like play Focus Fire anyway?
Pretty often, I would say.
And like also, I'd rather be in green white than green black if I have the option, which I mean maybe I don't.
mhm.
So I'm like thinking about also just like in that lens, Focus Fire a better green card. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll give you
I'm also just like I am a big fan of Tapestry Warden. Like I could see taking that there.
Yeah, I'm
Diplo
definitely
is-
more
Unlike
arguing
Mystical
for the
Dispute.
Warden than the other two.
Yeah, I think Warden is also what I as a lot of the time as a threat.
Warden's a combination with Melt Shadows Resolve, I will note.
It is.
True. This is actually like relevant. Like you'll just have like I think part of Warden's strength is you just have a couple cards in your deck that just like get power boost off of it, and that's real upside in your 4-mana 4/4 vigilance.
Notably, you only deal 3 damage to the creature you're
Yes.
fighting.
Yeah,
This
the
is
Warden
true.
dex does not affect the fight, but it's very
Yeah.
annoying. Yeah,
So
no.
I think
Yeah, I took Focus Fire here because I think it's just the best card in the pack, and I was not sure what colors I was in by any
Yeah.
means, and I was just continuing to kind of do the thing of like, I'm gonna take the good cards and see what happens.
I think I want to take Focus Fire too. I am not.
Okay, let me put it this way. If we had emergency eject, I would take Focus Fire, but I like kind of have discarded this Wedge Light Rammer from like my mental model of our draft. Like I like don't care about the Wedge Light Rammer card that much, given like
I would
the
say
other
even
cards
if
we
you've
have.
discarded the Wedge Light Rammer completely, it's still quite reasonable to take Focus Fire here as a cheap defensive card that goes with our expensive cards.
Yeah, but like
And it's
I don't
also
know.
just the best card in the pack.
Well, I guess like I would rather not take my first white card rather than taking a second green card. I let's just I'm a very big fan of matching. You know, I like matching games. The draft is a matching game. You want to match colors.
Again, this like totally is so interesting because you've advocated for exactly opposite strategies to this in previous drafts. And so I think trying to like elucidate the reasoning beyond I like taking cards that match the colors of the cards I already have and want to play is like important, right?
Okay. Let me try to tie all of this together. I think it's very important to have a direction in draft. Like I really like having a direction. It doesn't have to be like I don't like having like a very exact like this is exactly where I'm going kind of direction, but I like having a vague sense of direction. And you like one of the best ways to have a vague sense of direction is to be deep in one color. Like if you're deep in one color and you have that anchoring you, then like then that gives you a lot of freedom to explore and a lot of freedom to speculate because you could pair anything with that one color in like formats like this. It's not every format. You can't do that in every format. Sometimes in formats like the directions that you can get are like more narrow because like maybe green white doesn't make sense in the format, and then like it's harder to be anchored in green and then speculate on white cards. But regardless, this is why like I don't know. I like having some kind of direction where like right now we're kind of all over the place where like basically like I can't imagine playing all of like feeder. Like I'm always playing kill ship, but I can't imagine playing like I like don't imagine playing circuit feeder and rammer in the same deck. Or like I could, but like they like have some tension. Similarly, like I'm definitely not playing all three of the circuit feeder, the rammer, and the melt trader's resolve. Though I could pair melt trader's resolve with either of them. And then like focus fire, like yeah, we could put that with the rammer, but I don't care that much about the rammer. And like you can play this in with either the resolve or the circuit feeder, but like it's not that strong with either, So I don't know, like. I would rather have something that says like, okay, I like have a direction towards green and I want to like capitalize on that rather than like spreading ourselves out more like, oh, we'll like taking the focus fire is like, okay, we'll probably play the focus fire, but it does come at a cost, right? Like if you're taking the focus fire to splash in black green, that does come at a cost. You're not always going to be able to do that. Even if you like are most often going to be able to do that, and it's like there might be a bunch of spots where you would rather just have a tapestry warden than splash a focus fire, right? So like I don't know. If I'm viewing this as my first white card, I just don't want to stretch in another color of direction, I guess.
Yeah, that all makes sense. I think I evaluate Warden a little bit lower and Focus Fire a little bit higher, so that's also partially what's going on. Like
Yeah.
I would say Focus Fire is definitely the best card in the pack by some kind of a meaningful amount. It's not huge, but I do prefer it as a card. I do think the argument of like the best card we have picked up so far, maybe tied with the Circuit Feeder, is the Mount Strider's Resolve. And so we have reason to want to be in green. We don't really have reason at all to want to be in white. So I get that argument. I think it's totally reasonable. I could see Tapestry Warden just being the right pick.
I mean, also, I think you were saying you were a bit higher on the ship, and if that estimation turns out to be more truthful than like and that card being like a
right, that is also
card.
obviously part of what's going on here. I do like the ship. I did consider it as a real white card that I would like to have in my final deck, which I think I should probably just move down on it. But that was the part of the reasoning as I made the pick as well.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have two white cards, a green card, a black card, and a kill ship. Depressurize is the best card in the pack, I guess.
For us, maybe. I mean, I do think Interceptor Mechan
is sure. Yeah.
the most powerful card in the pack. And I am looking at it, but I think it's a little greedy to click it.
We're in too many directions already. Focus.
Yeah.
Focus on the fire.
Focus on the
fire.
Yes!
No, I refuse.
Give me my
I'm going to take
Mechan.
very strong cards when I feel like I have some other like strong cards that I would like to play them with, and I'm okay not playing all of my first 6 picks as long as I end up in a deck that has a high density of strong cards. That is the logic behind this pick. I don't know if it's right, but I think it's defensible, I guess is what I would say.
I think I'm a fan. I think Interceptor Mechan also is just like one of the most splashful cards in the format. Is kind of my vibe on it. Like
Okay,
I just
well,
that too. I also see it as splash.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you actually planning on? Okay, so what are the scenarios where you're splashing this Interceptor Mechan? Well, one of the scenarios is that you are black-white splashing red for Interceptor Mechan. That's very hard. Like if you're not green, splashing is very hard in this format. Another scenario is you're like black, red, splash, and white for the focus fire. That's still very hard, right? The more reasonable
I think it's easier if you have like orbital plunge kind of cards.
Sure.
There's like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we haven't seen any impact one, right? Like, it's going to be hard. Another situation is you are black-green, and you are splashing the Interceptor Mechan. Then I have a question for you. which is better, an interceptor mechan or both a focus fire and a depressurize? It's like hard. It's like a little hard.
I probably would. I think I would say interceptor mechan.
I think it
I agree. It's
depends.
close.
I think it's like when you have okay. Let me put it this way: when you have Monuous Circuit Feeder and Pinnacle Kill Ship already, and like I don't know, you already have a bunch of top end. I don't know if you like. I don't know if this is going to be better than like two cheap removal spells, right? Like,
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, and it's close. I personally would answer that I would prefer Interceptor mechan in the average deck that I would expect. I think the card is just extremely strong and kind of a tier above those
you
cards,
better
and I would
have
rather have it
Interceptor
than two
mechan
of
in your
them.
final deck. Otherwise, like you better.
Shakes fist.
We will find out together.
I am thinking about depressurize here. Like, to be clear, it is. I claim it to be close, and I was partially saying Interceptor mechan and tongue in cheek. I'm not sure if it's too greedy. But I think it's good to move on. I don't want to linger just because I can't decide on it.
Great.
Yeah, that card's nice.
We have no one drops. Okay. Comic Crawler.
Can we take Ice Cream Crusher here? I guess not really.
I'm a Comic Crawler respecter mostly.
Okay. I mean, I would claim myself a scared Comic Crawler respecter, where I've heard for it, and so kind of moved down on it, but haven't cast it a lot recently, and that was like nice for me early.
I think it's just like very clearly a playable but not exciting at all creature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is higher than I've heard people talk about it before.
I think Ice Cave Crasher occupies a similar spot. And like the thing about sometimes the comic crawler is really good because sometimes you like if you're going deep in the black space, it often ends up being pretty good. I don't like this. We have a 6-drop and a 7-drop. And we don't.
I think that's reasonable.
And
I think crawler is probably the pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like also like the other thing about the Nebula Dragon is that even if we are in a deck that 1 more 7, we can probably pick it up. Like, it feels like so easy to fill that slot if we need it. We don't really need to fill it right now.
Decode transmissions. Some card advantage to help cast our expensive spells.
I never know if I should respect transmissions. Like, I know it's like sometimes as card advantage goes, one of the worst ones.
I also think this is very boring. It is a black card that is playable in non-blue black decks. Like not black decks that are not blue. Because sometimes you just need card advantage, and it is playable when you need card advantage.
Yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
It's not amazing by any stretch. But I think I think it is what the deck kind of needs right now.
Yeah. I've been like going back and forth on whether or not I think it's like something I want even that scenario, but I think it makes sense to want it.
Melded Moxie.
I do strongly believe that it is a card that you should play in those decks, and you do want them in those decks. Okay. That is my current stance.
That's a good data point. Thank you.
Rig for
I think I want Rig for War.
I don't know how much I should respect this card, so maybe I want Sky Stinger, but like
I think I respect it a little bit. I have not cast the card, but I
also
feel like
have not cast the card.
I feel like I should respect it.
Yeah, okay.
I've played around the card. Let's go!
Okay, well, after pack 1, we have a Meltshay's Resolve, a Tapestry Warden, some black cards, and like some inroads like black white or black red, or maybe splashing in between. But it's like I don't know.
It's quite confused coming out of pack 1.
I like want to be in black, I think, because of that double black, because of like random and stuff.
Well, isn't this a lovely pack?
Huh.
Scoutlander.
Yeah. I was looking at Command Bridge, but I think that's kind of evil to take.
I would like to take like with the last pick Tapestry Warden. I would like now that we have 2 good green cards. I would like to declare that our green cards are like arguably better than our red cards, or like either our red cards or our white cards, and we can be green black.
Green black splashing like white and red, presumably.
Well, we don't have to splash both.
I would splash.
Yeah, but I'd like
both.
to. I'd like to splash both. We have enough good cards in both.
Well,
And by enough good cards, I mean one.
We need a lot of fixing to do that.
Yeah.
I think this is not. You don't have cards that are good with this right now. All your cards are good with the things that are good with this, but you don't actually have anything that's good with this itself. I will note.
I agree. But I don't think that's a huge problem. Pack 2, pick 1. Like, if I'm in black, I'm going to be able to prioritize those cards and get them. Like, I agree that this is a pretty, like, committal giving up power level pick, but I saw myself as definitely wanting to be black and not sure what my other colors were at this point. And I do quite like Beckoner. I think there are many other stronger cards in the pack, like 3 stronger green cards and maybe a slightly stronger red card. But I don't know. I don't think this pick was egregious. I think we just happened to open a pack that didn't have cards in like colors that we were expecting to be in. Although if you think green black is viable, then it might just be that you take
Okay.
Gallander.
I think I might take bridge over this. Like, given that you put yourself in this position where you like are looking to like splash, anyways, right? Like, okay, let me put it this way.
I'm not sure that I need to do that.
Let me put it this way. I think that you are not allowed to take Meccan here and then take Beckoner over bridge. That is incoherent. I strongly believe this. I think that if you are taking Meccan here, right? Like, if you're taking Meccan over depressurize, you're basically like your argument is like you like to splash it, right? You think that you like have a decent chance of splashing this or splashing white, and like you're happy to do that. If you're happy to do that, I'm pretty sure you need to be taking Command Bridge over Perigee Beckoner when your Perigee Beckoner isn't even that good yet, right? Like you don't.
Okay, I will contend that the Interceptor Meccan pick is not in any way saying I am going to splash Interceptor Meccan if I play it at all. What I am saying with the Interceptor Meccan pick is there is maybe only a 20% chance this card makes my final deck, but if it does, it will be a premium card in that final deck. That is slightly more value than the alternative cards.
Do you think?
I think that's probably wrong because Depressurize is good.
Yeah,
but
like I 20% chance of Meccan is definitely like much worse than 90% depressurize, like 95%.
I would not put 90 or 95% on depressurize at all. I do not know what my colors are at this point. I have exactly one good black card. I have one good white card. And that's it, basically.
And one green card.
You have a good green card.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I also have a good green card. So
Okay,
I do not think that I would put the odds of depressurize making our final deck at probably 60%.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What decks do you envision yourself being in that don't play depressurize? If you're a green deck, you're probably playing depressurize. I'm gonna hazard a guess. Like most times, you're a green deck. Like it makes like most of the time. Like if you take okay, let me put it this way: if you take this depressurize, you now have 2 good black cards. How are you ending up discarding both of them? Right? Like you have to end up choosing to discard both. Like it's not just like, oh, like at the end of the draft you like see this pick again and like maybe put a depressurize in your deck. Like throughout the entire draft you have this depressurize and this Magma Circuit Feeder. Like for the rest of the draft you have these 2 cards and they are constantly telling you you have 2 good black cards. You have 2 good black cards. What if you were black, right? And
well, but that's also potentially a downside, right? Like
that's not a
I don't
downside.
think you should.
It's not a downside because this pick you have to take a card. You have to take a card out of this pack. You like this is my entire draft philosophy, right? When you make a pick, you are locking in, like you forever lose the potential energy of what that pick could have been, and you lock it into something, right? And like
right.
That's worse than keeping it open. I would love to be able to like look at all of my packs and like decide with full information what each pack what card I'm going to take out of each pack. But you can't do that. So like, yeah, I guess you could say it's a downside compared to having the pick still open, but you can't do that. It's not more of a downside than picking any other card from this pack, right?
I agree, but that's why I'm saying it's not an argument for this card specifically over any other card in the pack.
You know,
Like,
well, I'm not saying okay. What I'm trying to say here is that if you pick depressure, conditioned on you picking depressurize, your chance of playing depressurize is quite high because you have two strong black cards, which is more strong cards in one color than any of your other colors. And to discard those black cards, you have to see a good card in like blue or something, and then like not see good cards in like either green or white in a color that you already have more so than
okay,
you see
one
black
thing
cards.
I would say is that I very, very much have had green white decks in this format that do not want to splash and depressurize. That's just like a thing that I've had. They exist and are like somewhat common. I don't think it is a guarantee that if I end up in green, I will be soup or like a green deck that wants to splash it. It's likely, I think, if I end up in green, that I want to splash it. But I don't think I'm like locking into that specific of an understanding of what my final deck looks like at this point.
Yeah. So
But
okay.
I agree that like Depressurize is more likely to make our final deck, and it's not that much worse than Interceptor Mechan. I agree on those points. But I I think one of the really, really, really different ways we have been navigating this draft, and I think it's interesting, and I think you may be philosophically more right than I am, is that like I am not at all assuming we are going to end up playing like our most powerful cards, all of them. I'm going to assume that we're going to play probably based on the direction the draft has gone so far, 50 to 75% of them. And I'm okay with that as long as I'm able to like end up in a deck that I was picking the strong cards out of, or like the strongest cards out of most of the packs and ended up with enough of playables. It's kind of your philosophy that you were describing with the Edge Rover pick and the other day a little bit, but
Well,
I'm curious if you could like explain why that's different.
the difference is that in that world, the reason why I wanted to pick Edge Rover was because there were no cards in the pack I would play in my deck. Basically, like
Right.
a Cavron Harrier was not a card that I want to put in my final deck. Depressurize is very much a card I want to put in my final deck. That is the key difference here. I'm not arguing for taking Comet Crawler over Intercepted Mechan here. I'm arguing for taking Depressurize, right? And like
Yeah.
the thing I want to drive home here is the the thing you've said. Okay, when I said like, oh, we should take depressurize and be black because we are black, your response to that was, oh, we don't know what colors we're in, right? But that's not. I think you are not thinking about that in the right way because I suspect what you say when you say that we don't know what colors we're in is that you're looking at the first five picks and saying we don't know what colors we're in. Or instead, when you're making the sixth pick, you should consider what colors you think you're in after having made that pick, right? Like if we pick depressurize, we will have picked depressurize, so therefore we are probably going to be in black, right? So probably we will play the
I
depressurize.
don't see this as an argument. Like I fundamentally am not getting this as an argument for taking the depressurize because what you're describing is a narrowing of our possibility space, right? I don't know if that's inherently good. You're saying that like this commits you to a path a little bit, and like that can be good if that ends up being the path where we get the strongest cards. But again, I think like I don't see that as inherently upside. I see that as inherently neutral, where we take this card, it means we have one additional strong black card in our pool, which means that if we end up in a black deck by like whatever method we're drafting, which is some balance of taking the strong cards and taking the cards that work with the cards we already have, then yes, that will be an upside. But I don't think that like that actually actualizes all the time. And I don't think you can like use the argument that choosing to go down that path actualizes that path as like a reason for it being good.
So okay, well, there's many things I could respond to this with, but I think the thing that might be most effective is returning to some of our roots of asking the question. power level of a card times likelihood it is going to make your deck, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole point here is, I think, like you can't say that taking depressurized narrows our path when taking interceptor mechan also is narrowing our path, right? Like I'm not saying that I'm going to take depressurize and be like hard committed to black. I'm saying I'm taking depressurize and I'm adding its I'm probably going to be a little more focused on the paths that it's adding its like power to, right? Like if you just imagine like from like starting from this spot in the draft, we have a lot of branching paths, right? And if we take depressurize, we're adding some equity to like, like 40% of the paths in front of us. Maybe more than that. Like definitely more
I
than
would say
40%.
more. Yeah, by a
Yeah,
bit.
right.
Yep.
Like we're adding equity to like 75% of the paths in front of us. And if we take interceptor mechan, we're adding like more equity like to 20% of the paths in front of us. But like, overall we're adding like when tallied at the end, depressure is adding more equity, whereas interceptor is adding less. And also the equity, it's not even as simple as like it's not even as simple as that simple multiplication, because if you're adding to like fewer paths with interceptor mechan, it's going to be like hard. It's going to be hard to like keep adding equity to that path, right? Like what you want to do in a draft is you want to like try to like add, like when you take a pick, you're like adding equity to various different paths, and you want to like try to by the end of the draft have like concentrated a bunch of equity on like one path that ends up being your final deck,
Yeah.
right? And like
this is a really good metaphor. I like this framing a lot.
Right, like if you imagine, like, for example, let's say you took a strong black card and a strong green card, and then like if you take this interceptor mechan, right, taking this interceptor mechan adds equity to a path, and then maybe later you say a biomechan engineer, and that adds equity to a different path, but like those are completely separate, so it's really hard to like stack them, right? Whereas if you take depressurize, it like is much better at stacking, much better at like combining things to like make a like final path that makes sense, that like that the final path that like has a lot of good like overall like the most equity on it, right?
So I think that this makes a lot of sense, right? However, I would like to challenge this reasoning a little bit, where I agree you're adding like equity to a path that is higher percentage, right? But that does mean that more of your equity is invested in a particular path. And so that path, if it's like 80% that we go down, right? It's worse for us if we don't go down that and instead go down a different one because we've invested equity in it up ahead of time, right? Like there is
No,
an
okay,
inverse thing, like
Ryan, I think you're not
thing going on
I
here.
think you've gotten it flipped backwards, because when I say I'm adding like when you take depressurize, like let's say there are like okay, let's say there are 100 paths in front of you, right?
Yep.
Let's say depressurize it adds like 3 points to 75 of the paths, right?
Yep.
And let's say interceptor mechan adds 5 points to 20 of the paths, right?
Yep.
That's the comparison I'm making, right?
Agreed.
Like the numbers are obviously fake, right? But like the depressurize is in fact spread wider. You're less committed than if you like have the interceptor back, right? Like it's easier to overlap than depressurize with future picks, and like the hit in power level isn't very, it is like not that large, right? Like in the world where like you could have in the past that like interceptor back in benefits, depressurize is still benefiting just by like a little bit less, right? But it's
Yeah.
not even close to benefiting zero, right? So like you are in fact spread wider and more open taking the depressurized than the interceptor mechan. Like you don't need like. Let me put it this way: when you're drafting, you do not have enough picks and do not have enough like. There's just not enough equity to be had in the entire draft to constantly be maintaining like many different paths at strong power levels, right? Like you can't have a strong black red path and a strong blue green path going at the same time, for example, right? Like
You can't draft two good decks in the same draft.
yeah. So like like if you just imagine like laying down adding to a bunch of paths, like naturally a better strategy instead of having like narrow but large payoffs is to have like slightly less narrow but still substantial payoffs that overlap, right? That is more powerful than like lots of distinct narrow strong payoffs, right? And like I feel like what's happening with this draft is we're having a lot of distinct, narrow, strong payoffs, right? Like taking this monolith circuit feeder is like more narrow than this Terrapact Intimidator because it's more expensive and also more reliant on being an artifact deck. Taking this Wedge Light Rammer is more like very narrow in the white aggro direction, right? And like this pack, like sometimes you're forced to like in this pack that there's like not really anything to take other than the Melt Triders Resolve, and that has to go in a different direction. But you can like try to find ways to like bridge your directions and like try to find the like overall direction that you're like going most towards. And like yes, you are kind like yes, you are. When I'm taking this depressurize, I am kind of narrowing down my options to being like, oh, I'm probably going to be playing black cards by the end of this draft once I take this depressurize. But like, it's not. It's there was no way to avoid something like that. I always had to like pick some direction, right? And it's not that I'm not picking an arbitrary direction. I have a reason for picking this direction, right? And like I might still end up veering off if I see like some very specific things. I'm not fully committed. It's just that it makes the most sense here, I think.
Yep. I end up agreeing with you, by the way, on the pick. Like I do think depressurize is better. But let's keep going. We've been on this for far too long, I think.
Yeah, let's move on.
I don't know. This is a fascinating discussion to me.
It's good to go into, but I think we've sufficiently into it.
We've covered the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, this Perigee Vector pick, like over Command Bridge, is like you like Perigee Vector will be better than Command Bridge in specifically the times where you're like black red, like straight black red, you know, or like straight black white, as opposed to splashing anything. So it's weird to me for that reason.
I guess I do kind of see the appeal, though, of just like at this point in the draft, when we're in pack 2, pick 1, we may or may not regret our choices of being like, I do want to end up in a 2-color lane if I'm not in a green deck. I think there is some not accepting sunk cost fallacy resigning myself to that I could do.
Yeah, but the problem is that if you end up in a 2-color lane, your pack 1 just doesn't make sense anymore. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Well, yes.
I'm claiming that it can.
Specifically, the thing I am disputing, Jason, is that is inherently a problem. I get that you are losing equity by doing that. I don't disagree that it retroactively makes some of the pack 1 picks look bad. But I don't think you can evaluate a draft based on if I went back through this draft knowing what my final deck was, which cards would I like to add to that final deck?
That's
right?
not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that if you pick Perigee Vector, you are now pretty guaranteed to only play 3 of your pack 1 cards. Like
what?
The path where you're taking, like, if you're taking Perigee Vector with the idea of being a 2-color deck, like if you take Perigee Vector over Command Bridge, you're basically making the statement, I believe that I'm going to be a 2-color black deck. Do you agree with this?
Correct. Yes.
If you have that belief, you believe that you're playing only 3 of your pack 1 cards.
Pack 1 what?
3 of your cards from pack 1. I do not
that
believe...
is absolutely false. What are you talking about? I have a Pinnacle Killship, a Mono Circuit Feeder.
Okay, sure. Four including the
Interceptor Mechan, potentially a Servandum if I happen to get the tools to splash. I have a Melded Moxite. Like, if I just end up in black-red, I'm playing like 6 of my pack 1 cards, not 2. I don't understand how you're getting 2.
I mean, if
First of all, you cannot say Servandum if you end up splashing, because the whole premise here was that we aren't ending up splashing, right? Like, I'm saying if we are playing 2 colors, right?
Sure.
I'm going to be playing Mono Circuit Feeder, Pinnacle Killship. Let's say we're black-red, Interceptor Mechan. I'm not playing the Nebula Dragon because I already have 3 3 expensive things, right?
Right. Agreed.
Deco Transmissions, Melded Moxite. That's like 5.
Yeah, that's 5 is so not 2. I don't understand why you're saying 2.
To be clear, I initially said 3, forgetting about the kill ship.
Got it.
The white path is less, I think. It's 1, 2. This is like barely a card. 3, 4. Maybe this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. This is what I'm saying though, is that like it is okay to end up not playing some powerful cards that you took.
I
It's
understand.
not good, but like I don't think the fact that like our pack one retroactively looks less like linearly like rational or whatever, I don't think that's inherently a criticism of how we drafted.
Right. I had a comment that I was going to make about this pick. Um, that I think is now relevant again. CFT reminded me of a great term that I think applies here. I think you are playing hope chess. Um,
Yeah, that is interesting. I also heard CFT use that term.
do you know what the term hope chess means?
I looked it up and I vaguely understand it, but it's
Can
also a
you
pretty
explain
like
it?
ambiguous term.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead, try to explain
hope
it.
chess is a term in chess where you like make a move. Like okay, it doesn't apply here exactly because you don't have an opponent. But in hope chess, what it means is you make a move that is good if your opponent makes a mistake. Basically, like you're hoping that your opponent plays into your move. Right, is basically what hope chess means. I think that by taking this Perigi Beckoner, you're like hoping that a 2-color black deck will conjure itself into existence, right? And like, yeah, that can happen, but it's I don't want to stake my draft on that, and I'd much rather take a command bridge to like not have to hope to do that to like be able to be more
Mhm.
flexible with like possibly splashing and like not
All the
needing
weird
to
cards
pick
we have.
like not
Yeah.
needing to pick up specifically the cards that are good with Perigi Beckoner, right? Like because Perigi Beckoner is not just a card that is good in every single deck, right? Like I would be more into this if this were Gravkill. I would be a lot more into it if it were Gravkill. My specific gripe is that Perigi Beckoner is a card that like really incentivizes you to be 2-color aggressive, like take like cheap creatures, and you're not guaranteed to see that. So I'd rather take something like Command Bridge, which like leaves us less hopeful, like less needing to hope for things, or Scoutlander, which like still like ties more of our cards together. Like I just want things that tie more of our cards together because we're in like a somewhat confused space. I don't feel like we have the options to hope right now, basically.
Yeah, that all makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
think I strongly agree with that.
Shall we
This,
continue and look at the next pick?
this pick is
Yeah.
nice though. Your hope chest is working.
Yeah, right. It's that I find that very funny.
That is very funny. Yeah.
Okay. Next pick.
We're now in the Hope Chest land.
Starfighter Pilot. I think you just have to take Starfighter Pilot. I don't know.
I think so. I mean, I'm thinking how high am I on the card, and the answer is not high enough. I think I like cheap card.
Yeah, I don't want to take a 4-drop. Sorry. You could take Worm Wall Sweeper. I need to figure out how much I like Worm Wall Sweeper.
I still haven't. That card has just underwhelmed me so much, but like it's seemed fine on the opponent's side sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I would probably take Honored Guard Knight Captain here.
Over how much higher are you in that than Gravkill, where we're at in this draft right now?
Well, we have this is how you play the hope chess. Like you have to take these kinds of cards when I think like given the rest of the cards that we have like a Focus Fire, right?
Oh yeah, we have Focus Fire, we have Pinnacle Kill Ship.
We have Kill
So
Ship.
we have our interaction kind of.
We have like the 6-mana Circuit Feeder. Like
we have Circuit
I just
Feeder
want
too.
to take
And
every single 2-drop so that I can like curve out and make my Perigi Beckner good and like make my
it's also
Circuit Feeder good. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's also nice with the Black White Legend. Yeah, I think you have me convinced.
And also like this makes our Wedge Light Rammer better. Like, I disagree with this. I think. Yeah,
Well, how sure are we that we're white? We have Stirvondum and Focus Fire. I guess Wedge Light also.
Yeah, we have Circuit Vondom, Focus Fire, Wedge Light, and we've taken the Starfighter Pilot. This is actually significant.
True.
And
Yeah.
the thing is, like, once you start playing Hope Chess, you kind of have to commit, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can't
I-
you can't still be straddling between white black or red black. I claim, like,
Yeah, I would also claim that the Auto Knight Captain, like pushing that lane, does make the white station card we took early like
yeah.
much more interesting.
Yeah, like, again, like,
Yeah.
the question you should ask when taking the Knight Captain of, like, what colors are we when we take this Knight Captain? It's not our white cards are not just Rammer, Focus Fire, Vondam, and Starfighter Pilot. They also include Knight Captain when you ask that question. Again, I want to emphasize
This is exactly the same thing we were talking about earlier. I'm not sure I totally get the logic there, but we should not rehash it for the 10th time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Of Grau Pile.
mean, you don't have sack things though, right? Like,
Yeah, we don't have landers. We don't have.
I guess you still take a 2-drop. I would be stoked to take Knight Captain with the boosters, though. Just saying. But without the Knight Captain, I don't think you can take the boosters.
I mean, we don't have. Like I said, we do have a bunch of expensive things, even if we don't have that many fives.
Yes.
I think we just did.
Yeah, we've been talking about how we have a bunch of expensive things. Radiant Strike. I don't think we have fodder for Embrace Oblivion.
I also could take Nutrient Block.
I don't want to take Nutrient Block. Like,
I don't think I want to either.
Like, Radiant Strike's a good card. Even when
I think I like Radiant Strike.
Honestly, I don't know what you're sacking to this.
It's good with Parry Beckoner, but yeah,
here's another one. But, like, Parry Beckoner, it's, like, not trivial to set that up, right? And it's only, like,
I would strongly agree with that. Yeah.
Like, you are giving up something still when you sack the thing you beckoned.
Yeah.
Are you?
Well, okay. I feel like a lot of the times when you're making this play, you don't also get to attack. Sometimes you get to attack, but not always. Right?
I see what you're saying.
I think you get to attack maybe more than you're thinking, just because, like, especially if you're targeting something that you want to target, it makes blocking, like, really hard. That's part of the
Parody makes blocking impossible, like, almost all the time.
In which case, like,
a creature with it.
Yeah. There definitely are going to be cases where, like, you then can't attack, but I think with specifically Oblivion, it lines up a little bit nicer more often than not. Like, I think when Parry Beckoner gets the most awkward is with Swarmcaller.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, it's, like, good with Stormcaller, I would argue.
It's, like, fun. I would agree that it's good, but I think it's not great for pushing damage specifically with Stormcaller. It's like, yeah, the cards.
Yeah, these are whatever. I like that the basic is missing from. I like that the basic is missing from Pack 2 Vic 12. That's a nice one.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that this pack mostly, like, I think you could have just, like, gone more in the white direction. And I think that would have been better.
Yeah.
So I guess you're probably gonna take this Interceptor mech in here, but I would take Focus Fire.
You know me too well.
Like,
it could be in black red now. Now that we didn't take the white cards, I think we can play a different.
I guess since we didn't take the white cards, we can take an Interceptor mech in. I just like.
We have the cut propulsion too. Like, that's a decently sized data point for me.
Sure. I'm like, I don't know why I think that our white cards are better than our black cards here. I think it's because I think it's mostly want to be aggressive, and our white cards are more aggressive than our red cards. Like, I don't care about the Nebula Dragon or the Melded Moxite.
Mm-hmm.
And I like having an additional 2-drop. And I actively want to play the Flight Deck Coordinator. So, I don't know.
Interesting. I think at this point, with the cards we've taken, I do like Mech and more. But I also wish we had taken the 2-mana make 2/1/1s and gone in the white direction.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the claim will stick.
I would take the Mechan over the Plunge. Also over this. I forgot that this was an option. Yeah. I think that this is worse, but I don't know.
I like getting data points on that card.
That's fair.
that was part of it for me. I think I like had moved too far down on it, and I was trying to figure out if it like could work. I also had 2 Beckoners, which is the nicest thing to get back with it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think
Right.
I think I want to take the Zookeeper mech in more, but I don't mind getting data.
Grab kill?
Bruntar? No, not Bruntar.
Don't we have a billion? Like, we have
I think it's like
Circuit Feeder, we have Killship, and we have Nebula Dragon, and we have
we don't.
2 Interceptor Mechans.
Yeah.
I think we have
Which one's Interceptor Mechan?
the card that you took 2 times when I did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would at this point, like we're later in the draft, and now that we have more picks, I think the proportion of cards that we have that are expensive is actually like dramatically lower.
I
So, like,
agree.
I like am thinking about this Bruntar more, but I'm still like not sure about it over Graphico.
Okay.
I think I like it.
I have a question for you. What are our cheap
Yeah.
cards? Like, what are we doing before turn 5?
That's a great question.
Like, we are casting Zoifit.
we
are
have
casting maybe grab. I don't think the grab blade heavy really counts. Like, what are we?
We
We're
have a
casting
Sunset
a Banjo.
Saboteur. We have a Melded Moxite.
we have Moxite, we have the 4-1. Yeah, I
Okay,
mean we don't
I
have
agree. We
all.
have the 4-1. The 4-1's nice. The 4-1's kind of one card. Like, I don't know how we're affecting the board early. And if we can't affect the
Yeah.
board early, like our Beckoners are not good.
Yeah,
I agree.
No, this is
this is the major
incredibly
flaw
true.
with our deck right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Grab Kill solves it, is the thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It makes you less. It makes it less necessary for you to like affect the board early. Because like you can just go like if you want to play a game of like having a lot of big like expensive things, like playing Grab Kill on turn 4 helps you keep alive. It helps keep you alive more, and certainly is going to be better than another expensive thing, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want to
yeah.
take Grab Kill over a 2-drop. I'm saying I want to take it over Bruntar.
Yes.
Right.
Like I would take a
this makes
2-drop
sense.
over Grab Kill. Like basically any black or red 2-drop.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Mechan.
Yay.
I might be about to suggest modifier over graph kill because I want some way to affect the board early, but that might be a thing too far. I don't like this. This doesn't affect the board. What are we doing with? I guess we have the Mechans, the Interceptor Mechans.
We have the Embrace Oblivion.
We have Embrace Oblivion.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't love it. Like
we have, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, if I was in this spot, I think
we have Lightless Evangel as well.
Did we take that graph kill early? No, we took the Bruntar. I think I would take the graph kill here.
I think that's reasonable. I wasn't sure about this pick. Yeah, I also don't love the graph kill. It is quite expensive in our expensive deck.
Yeah.
Penguin is forced. Oh no.
Not my Pango.
Flag to Scopper, please.
Yeah, this was an interesting one.
Hopefully. No.
Not my beam saw.
Okay, yeah, this pack 3 has gone horribly. Like I think we needed to have like 5 more cheap creatures than we have.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We got the okay. At least we got the Zookeeper Mechan back. I didn't expect
that helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, like I don't know. I expect that this deck died from like not doing anything on the early turns.
Interestingly, yeah. So like it kind of did. I had some weird like stuff. I'm trying to find the deck picture, the final deck picture. Here it is. Here, let me download it and send it. It did feel like the deck and like lost because it fell behind on board early. But if you look at the picture of the deck, it does not actually look like it should do that a lot. Here, I'm gonna send it in a voice channel or text for voice channel.
I mean, it kind of makes sense given the quality of Lightless Evangel and Remnant Elemental. It's like not great.
Like, I'm not surprised that it fell behind early. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I think it's like, because if you look at your actual creatures, like obviously like the 4/1 is nice, duplicate mechans are nice, but like Remnant Elemental, Evangel, Zulafit, Skittermaw, Swarmcrawler, these are all cards that are kind of somewhat below curve in terms of their actual like stats. They kind
we
of
don't
just
have
like,
a lot of creatures that want to trade off, and a lot of our expensive stuff wants creatures that will trade off.
Yeah.
That's like one really notable
like
thing.
like even the Zookeeper mechans like don't attack well. Like you just aren't really good at presenting stats on rate for the format, I would claim. And so like that leads to falling behind.
Yeah, like
That makes sense.
This looks like a deck where if I play Sunset Saboteur on turn 2, I'm very happy, and if I don't, I'm very sad. Because like the whole thing about not trading off and not pushing damage just makes the rest of your like it makes your interceptor mechans worse, it makes your parry vectors worse, it makes your like large things that like like your large FTKs worse even. Like those are worse when you're on the back foot than when you're on the front foot.
Yeah, especially like mono circuit feeder.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense. And as we've been going through this draft, I think we have been highlighting how I was setting myself up for clunkiness and assuming that I would get like the stuff to support it. I probably got more stuff than I should have like naturally expected to support it, and it still didn't work because of the like structural issues with having a lot of powerful stuff that needed me to be like drawing, as in like not winning or losing, but like at least keeping at parity in the early game.
I agree.
Yeah.
Cool.
Agreed.
This was really interesting, and I think like
yeah.
I didn't realize how off the rails this draft had gone. I knew I was oscillating, juggling between different spaces a lot in pack one. But I don't think I realized the like structural issues that I was giving my deck, even as I was trying to like grope for power, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It does, yeah.
Classic I would have been green draft, by the way. I would have taken so many more green cards and then gone like Larval Scoutlander into Sunset Saboteur into like Drix Fatemaker or something, maybe the Blooming Stinger.
Or like the Stinger.
And then like the second Warden, like the Biosynthetic Burst. I would have been so black-green stompy.
So stompy. Real.
Classic I would have been green.
Truly, it's an all-time classic.
But I think that the biggest thing to come out of this is like Jason's take cards that are coherent with each other, which I think a lot of people, when Jason says like, don't read signals and you don't know like what your final deck will look like necessarily, you shouldn't be trying to find the open lane or whatever, right? Like, I think that makes people sometimes assume that we're not drafting a deck that is meant to be coherent with itself, like even early in pack one. But ideally, you really do want to thread picks together that make sense with each other. And I kind of failed to do that to a good extent in this draft.
Yeah, I think what Jason is trying to say when it says is more like, don't put aside a good card that seems like it's somewhat in the direction that your deck could go for the sake of taking a worse card because you don't expect to get more cards of whatever color or something like that.
Yeah, like, okay, the fundamental thing that I'm trying to get at when I like when I like say that I don't like signals or don't care about the open lane is that I think that when people like that's just too narrow of a view of like what your how your draft navigation is supposed to be. And I think when people say things, they tend to mean like color pairs and colors, where I think more often you want to be navigating on the level of like the like roles of various cards in your deck and like overlapping colors in a way that isn't just like, oh, I know what two colors I am, but like you want some direction in your colors, but it doesn't need to be like knowing exactly what colors you are. But like it's like a hard balance to strike, and like I don't know, it's hard, but
yeah, I would describe it as like you are always drafting a limited deck. You are rarely drafting an archetype.
Yeah.
Which like I don't think a lot of people think of limited decks as like an archetype or like a thing that has certain properties that you can replicate in like a strong shell or recipe, like your recipe for soup. But if people started to think about it more like that, I think generally that's a way to level up, is to like start trying to recognize how your individual decks differ from the like average type of, I don't know, blue black deck you draft or whatever. The fact is that like almost every deck that you could look at and say, oh, that's like a typical archetype in this format or whatever, has really, really unique nuances, like the one I ended up with in this draft, where my expensive cards want early stuff to trade off specifically, and my early stuff is quite bad at trading off. And that's the kind of thing that, like, if you're just putting a bunch of red and black cards that say words that you know are supposed to be good in red and black in this format together, you're going to miss the structural flaws in your deck. And that's what happened to me, I think, in this draft.
And I think that's really
Also,
good
there's the whole
yeah.
navigation thing of just like probably being a little bit wild with how much I was willing to give up to like find quote unquote, I don't know if I'd call it the lane, but find like the most powerful cards I could take and end up in a deck with or whatever.
Yeah. It's a really hard balance to strike.
Yes.
I don't know if
yeah, Teddy, that's a really good point, I think. What did you say, Jason?
I was saying it's a really hard balance to strike, and I don't know how well I strike it, but I like the way I draft. It is the way that I will advocate for. Let me know if I'm ever like advocating too strongly. But
yeah, I certainly don't think you are. I mean, part of this, the whole purpose of this is doing draft log review helps us improve, and I'm preparing for the Pro Tour with this. So like the criticism and the argument is worthwhile. We're learning.
yeah.
I also want to go back a little bit to something Teddy said earlier, and how I was trying to respond in chat a little bit, but basically part of the reason that I tried to like be a little bit antagonistic and like push back on some of the explanations that you give for like why you're making certain picks or whatever, or why you disagree with certain of my picks. Obviously, there's probably a little bit of defensiveness of like my own decision making. I don't mean it to be mostly that. What I think is really interesting about draft is that like you can basically make any argument for any pick. There is the it's in the colors we're in argument. There is the it fits with the rest of the cards we've already drafted argument. There is the like I've seen this kind of lane available, and so moving in makes sense because I feel like this category or color of card is like going to be available for me to build this kind of deck in this draft. There is none of it makes sense except this card's just way stronger and I don't anticipate playing any of the other cards, so I'm going to take this card. There's just like so many ways you can rationalize any pick in a draft. And so the question is not, can you come up with a smart reason to make the choice you made? The question is, what are you weighing and like valuing against each other? What reasoning is the most relevant here? And that's, I think, the part that can be really hard to talk about because it's just so easy to take things as like prescriptive when all they are is descriptive of one particular instance in one particular context.
Yeah.
And a factor that you should be considering in the future, but you should also be considering all the other factors that could be in that context.
Yeah, I think there was like exactly one pick in this draft where it was like not a complicated balance of like various different factors that was like that has a like it's very hard to objectively answer because you know the who knows how important all of these are relative to each other. We're all guessing, right? And that one pick was the Wedge Light Rammer pick, where I think we just all all agree at this point that like first of all you kind of didn't see the emergency eject in the pack, and then also like you were probably valuing the Rammer too highly, and that was like by far the simplest pick in the draft. Everything else like there's a lot more like justifications one way or another, right?
I might claim that pack 1 pick 4 was the simplest.
Okay, well, sorry, the simplest one that we disagreed from the original pick.
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
Secretly,
thought this shows like a pretty fascinating draft.
yeah. Secretly, whenever I like, whenever I strongly disagree with a pick, what I'm really doing is, the vibes aren't there for this pick. My vibes are to take a different card, and I need to explain why my vibes are different.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's the part that like is the is the content, I guess. Like
And ironically,
we're
that
just
does
trying to
happen.
find our yeah, we're trying to like unearth our reasoning that we're using without knowing we're using it a lot of the time.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of like playing Magic and at high levels is not automating processes, but like building all of this muscle memory and performing a lot of difficult computations quickly. And so it's very easy to just bake that into your intuition and not think about it. And so like then these kind of moments are this is why draftologgy is great, is because it is digging into and what's the word for it? Like expressing that intuition in a way that can be learned from and then continue to be developed.
I would say that it's very hard to change a behavior that you don't understand why you're doing
Yes.
it. So, in
Strongly agree.
understanding the reasoning behind the decisions you make is, yeah, go CFT. Um, the understanding the reasoning behind the decisions you make and like why you're making the magic choices you are in games or in drafts or whatever, like it is actually a crucially important skill to be able to uncover your own reasoning because that's the only way you can actually like improve it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I still don't quite know why at the start of Pack 3 I was like, I would rather be white than red. I still can't quite put my finger on why the vibes were like better for
I
white
think
than
there
red.
might have been some noise still between what we did and didn't take. That would
Well, the thing
be,
is, like, I looked back and they still have those vibes. I think it's just that, like, the
huh?
Starfighter Violet and the Flight Deck Coordinator, like, looked like cards that traded better.
Maybe, yeah. That's
Hmm.
not a terrible point.
Like
Yeah,
that's my best explanation.
like
I'm not sure if it's like if it fully explains things. I might just be wrong about this, but it's just where my vibes were. It's
yeah,
really interesting.
that's really
It is.
interesting. I do love just like how much a single draft we can just like go on and on about, and like there's still like there are definitely picks I left off. Like I could spend more time thinking about this. Like I think it's really cool just how much depth we can uncover, and like also just speaks to I've been loving Edge of Eternity's draft. I think
Oh,
this
Edge
is
of Eternities is
so
so
much depth.
good
It's so
for
fun.
limited. It's so
Yeah,
hard.
it's hard. It's rewarding, and I also just love the play patterns.
Do you think it's
Yeah.
better than Duskmorn? That's one of the more recent bangers.
Recency bias says yes. Actually, they're probably just similar.
Hmm.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that's about where I have it.
Yeah,
It's very
Um,
good though.
but yeah, we're coming up on 2 hours.
yeah. I think it's late. We have an RCQ tomorrow morning.
Well, all of us except Ryan, who doesn't want to come hang out with
Yeah,
friends.
no, Ryan's playing an online RCQ. Ryan's gonna crush
Come
all the
on,
motor
chat. Let's
grinders
all
for us.
help. Let's all peer pressure, Ryan.
Or we
Bullying
can let
hour.
Ryan do what they want. I vote for letting Ryan do what they want.
Oh, no
Not
one has
No,
to vote for that. I will just simply do it anyway.
exactly.
I've been
And
betrayed.
I want to support you in that. I want to be supportive in
Okay.
following your truth.
Joking aside, I'm gonna try to find some channel to raid. Um, let's see. Maybe some like smaller limited channel or like
That'd be
smaller
sick.
channel drafting. Uh,
I do enjoy drafting. As much as when someone mentioned hate drafting at the
wow.
RCQ. Oh,
This
hate drafting? I hate drafting.
wow. There's only 11 people watching this joint exploration stream.
Oh, we should read them. Although they seem kind of mid. I don't know.
Why is no one drafting? I can't find any drafting streams that are small.
Ethan was drafting like really recently, but
I
yeah,
definitely
I
don't
think
see
he's still
Ethan. Um,
yeah.
uh,
Oh, you're so right, Teddy.
do, do, do. Okay, why don't we raid a vintage cube stream? That's drafting.
Yo, that sounds cool. I like Vintage Cube.
Okay. I as is often the case when I raid a small channel, I don't know who this person is, but they are drafting Vintage Cube. Hopefully, you all will enjoy that when we send you over. Agent Scope.
Nice format.
Woohoo!
Thank you all for watching. We will be doing, we do this every week. Hopefully next week still works. I will be out of town at a wedding on one of the days of next weekend, not the other one.
I think it should still work for me.
Work for me, yeah.
You can find VODs of all of these if you want to listen to us saying way too many words as usual on our YouTube. I try to upload them with some regularity, with amusing titles, hopefully. I don't know. Yeah.
And maybe I think I might have inspiration for a thumbnail for them too.
Oh boy. Yeah, sometimes, occasionally, Mora makes a cute thumbnail. But yeah, thank you all for watching. We'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.